You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the Chris Voss Show.com. I'll just do like a half an hour rendering of the fade out on that. Oh, wow. Holy crap. Stop, honey. This is Monday. This Monday, we're learning how to do the show again. We forgot how to do the show the weekend, and we forgot which buttons to press. So welcome to the show, my family and friends. This is always the Chris Voss Show. It's a family that loves you, but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your family does. Because, you know, you can't choose your family, but you can choose your podcast. Go to Facebook.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the net. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, amazing young entrepreneur on the show with us today. We're going to be talking about his company, his interests, how he built it, some of the things he's got going on, and also maybe some good advice on how you too can be a great entrepreneur, follow in his footsteps, or, you know, you can do your own thing. You don't have to do what he does, but you can become an entrepreneur. Damn it. That's what I'm trying to say here. Today we have Asaf Darash on the show. He's a doctorate and founder and CEO of a company called Regpack. It's a powerful registration and payments platform transforming how organizations automate their operations. He has a PhD from UC Berkeley, focused on the intersection of technology and human behavior. He turned his academic research into the foundation of Regpack's adaptive, no constraints architecture, making the software as flexible as the people who use it. Under his leadership, he has empowered organizations worldwide across camps, education, events, nonprofits, processing billions in payments and helping teams save time, reduce costs, and deliver seamless experiences. He's a frequent speaker on automation and SaaS innovation. He is passionate about showing organizations what's possible when technology truly works for them. Welcome to the show, Doc. How are you?
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. We certainly appreciate it. And you're perfect. Be careful. You know what they did with the last perfect guy. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Give us a .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs, get to know you better?
Best way to find us is www.regpack.com. Also LinkedIn/Asaf Darash or LinkedIn/Regpack. And also our Instagram is pretty nice. Just Regpack.
So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there at Regpack and what it is.
So Regpack basically does an onboarding software for services in mainly educational institutions. So think a camp or a school that you need to register your child. You need to go through to the forms. You need to give medical information, specific situations. You need to get more information than a different parent because your child has a specific condition. Then you need to select what they want. You want them to do. If, let's say it's a camp, you want them to go to the soccer camp and not the tennis camp. Then pay. We offer also installment plans, and then you're done. So something that would normally take you, 3 phone calls and 10 emails takes you 5 minutes for the parent. And from the organization standpoint, everything just flows. One of the things that we tell all our organizations, our main objective is to get you out of the way. For anybody who's just flowing through the process, we get you out of the way.
That's what my girlfriend always tells me she's trying to do. Anyway, she moved all her stuff out, so I'm not sure what that is about. Anyway, so now this is SaaS software, correct?
Correct.
And what sort of clients do you kind of target most? It's business to business as well, right?
I would say that it's business to business. That's obvious, but our client types are more organizations, like Joffrey Ballet, Berkeley. By the way, we have NASA as one of our clients.
Oh, really?
U.S. Air Force. It's like,
can I schedule myself to go up on the space shuttle there?
Actually, we sent our marketing team to NASA, and they had
really?
an amazing tour. They had so much fun.
I might want to work for you. I'm kind of jealous right now. Anyway, so what are some of if I'm out there listening to this right now, what companies is this kind of used for to help them get their scheduling and different things done with their clients?
The most obvious companies are camps, courses, after-school programs, events, and educational tourism. Those are like the 5 type of companies that we see every single day come into Regpack.
We have a lot
the more complex is like, dance schools. We also see people that use the software for any type of onboarding that is connected to services. But I would say camp, course, after school, educational tourism and events, that's spot on.
I know we have a lot of course makers and coaches and stuff on the show. I noticed that there's courses on there. Is that something that's good for them?
Yeah, it's amazing for them. Coaches, personal trainers, anybody who's basically, they have students and they need to go through some kind of eligibility process and gather information and take payments. Regpack is perfect for that.
And so they work with you guys on your website. They can go to it. They've got billing software, subscription management, reoccurring billing, online payments. Now, let me ask you this. What's a competitor that maybe you guys are replacing in the marketplace? I mean, I know PayPal has issues with some things and some people, and some of it's not very user-friendly at all. Stripe and different things. Do you guys compete with them?
Actually, those like Stripe and PayPal and Paybly and all kinds of these companies, there are suppliers. We use their technology to actually process the payments.
Okay.
But think of it like, I don't know, like they're very, very basic in what they offer, and we build a lot more on top of it, because just using Stripe is like using an invoicing system. It doesn't give you anything.
Yeah,
you can't make installments. You can't have conditional logic that allows each person to select what they want, etc. So Stripe is like the wheels of the car that we're building.
Okay. And so what was the problem you were looking to fix for people? It may seem obvious, but I think people like to hear your analogy and setup of it and why it was important for you as an entrepreneur. When did you come up with the idea for this? And what was the pain point you were maybe trying to solve? Was it personal where you're like, I like to do this, but there doesn't seem to be good software out there for it?
Okay, here comes my PhD hat. Okay. It all started in research. I checked if you can build computerized systems that have no constants in them. Like everything is a variable. Everything changes all the time. And that didn't exist before. So I managed to show that it's possible. And then I said, okay, so let's see if there's even there's a market that would need something like that. And I noticed that the service-based market is very fragmented. Right? You have software for events, and you have software for camps, and you have software for schools, and each segment has their own software. And it looked very odd to me because it's all basically the same thing when you can create something that doesn't have any constants. So I said, okay, let's see if this will work. Built Regpack as a prototype to see if something like this would work. Try to onboard. In the beginning, we onboarded each vertical. Like we onboarded a school, we onboarded a course, we onboarded a camp, we onboarded educational tourism to see if it would work. And it worked perfectly for all the verticals.
Wow.
So from my perspective, it was like, so why is the market like this? Like, why is it fragmented? And I understood that basically these softwares don't have the technology to allow them to pivot and change how the process works. They basically create a structure and they tell you have to be in that structure. Whereas Regpack tells you, you decide the structure, any structure you want, because of how it's built, because of the technology. And then at that time, I was just, a PhD student finishing their studies. And I said, wait a second, there's a huge opportunity here. And coming from a family of everybody's entrepreneurs and, we have businesses and all that, I was like, okay, this is an amazing opportunity. I think it can be something huge. And I jumped in. I decided to found Regpack.
Now, you mentioned you have a pedigree kind of with your family of entrepreneurism. Was that influence growing up?
Yeah, I would say that with the exception of my mother, nobody was ever worked for anybody. They always had their own companies.
Yeah. Well, mothers end up working for the kids. It's kind of the glorious nature of mothers. And if it wasn't for them,
but actually, from my perspective, it's a connection of both, because my mother was very strong in education. She took care of children with special needs. So it actually, from my perspective, it's like I'm connecting the two together.
Yeah. I mean, mom is kind of her own. She's the boss. So,
Yep.
So you had that influence. Now,
I actually have a funny story about that.
Please
One
do.
day, I came with my son my son came over. He was like 7 or something, and we were going out to lunch. And we crossed like all the main area of the company where all the developers are sitting and everybody. And one of the people like shouted to me, "Hey boss, what do you want to do about this and that?" And he stood up and he's like, "Dad's not the boss. Mom's the boss."
Kid knows his place, and he knows what
totally.
I guess I don't know. So now in this, what is is there anybody you're beating out? Let's say, is there competitors in the market that you offer better services in your mind? So maybe if someone's using XYZ, you can say, hey, if you come over here, it looks way easier to use and more UI intuitive than PayPal. I tell you, I go to that Stripe UI, and
anybody who's just using a payment processor will benefit immensely from using Regpack, because it'll just make the whole process for them and for their end users much better. People that onboard with Regpack after using only a payment processor directly see a 30% growth in their revenue.
Oh, wow.
Right away, just because the software is more intuitive and easier to use for the users. Okay?
Yeah.
And it flows. It's one of the things that Regpack does, because of the conditional logic engine and how it works. It presents to you only the things that apply to you. Now, the result of that is people go into this automatic mode where they're like, at some point they notice, okay, they're asking me questions and I'm filling out information that only applies to me. Like, I've never been asked a question that is not applicable to me. And what happens is they go into automatic mode, and part of that automatic mode is making the payment. And that's how we allow organizations to grow about 30% in the first year when they start using Regpack.
Yeah. I mean, if you make it easier, if you make it easier for a customer, you take away the roadblocks and the jumps and hoops and stuff. Like I say, I mean, I almost need a PhD to manage my Stripe panel. Like, I'm like, what does this do over here? I had to go in there the other day over some stuff, and I was just like completely lost. And the language they're using, it's so
confusing. Yeah,
I'm just like, what?
And now try to make installments with Stripe.
Oh
my God, that's really complicated. And in Regpack, it's just like, how many installments you want to make? 3, boom, you're done.
Yeah, I mean, if you're selling expensive consulting courses or packages like that, sometimes that can be a barrier that you deal with Stripe or PayPal's like, what are you doing over there? Huh? What's going on there? There's a lot of my friends that do that sort of thing, and they've had issues where they shut down our account and we gotta go talk to them and shit.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you're like, is this what you do for a business?
If you're selling something that has a ticket item of like $2,000, right? Not many people have $2,000 right off the bat. But if you tell them you need to pay $500 for 4 months, they're like, I can do that.
I'm going to put my health insurance on this. No, I'm just kidding. Hospital. Can I put this on can we get hospitals to use this thing? Anyway, I've got a few horror stories of hospitals recently and their billing. I end up paying one bill double because their billing is just such a nightmare, to the point that they said, okay, well, the next surgery, you just send us the money directly. We won't put you on the double billing system. I mean, seriously, I got double billed, and I thought it was short the first payment, and I thought, oh, well, this must be another bill, and it's, so I paid that, and then I called them up. I'm like, hey, what the hell is going on? And they were like, oh yeah, we double billed, Jay. I'm like, yeah, this is quite the game you guys got over here. I mean, I wish I could just double my clients and then pretend to be stupid.
And they didn't give you the money back?
No, they fixed it, but what they did was they applied it to the other balance that was still there. So
that works.
Basically advanced my payments like that. So was this your first entrepreneurial business that you did?
No, it's actually my third.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
No.
And so how'd the other two work out? What finally made you decide on this one and go, I think this is the one, maybe?
First of all, the other two were during my studies, and they were more like a hustle to make money while I'm studying, and they were very technology oriented. It was like eventually I sold it to a big company that used the technology in different ways, right? Here, I really I wanted to build a real business that has clients and customers, and it's not an exit plan; it's an actual business that helps other organizations and creates value. That's what was important for me.
And so you built this, and did you do some research to see if there was a real big market for this? That it was, something
A lot.
Yeah.
Like after I came up with the technology and figured out, okay, I have some interesting technology, I actually did research for I think like 3 months to see which fields this technology could be interesting in. And I found the service field because it's so unique. Think of it like this. Nearly anything that is e-commerce, there's no onboarding process, right? Let's say you want a shirt. The onboarding process is basically picking the shirt and buying it. That's it, right? Maybe giving your address to where they want it to send it. But any service type business, think of it like a school, a lawyer, a doctor, anybody, they have an onboarding process. You can't just get the service. You need to give information. You need to sign some kind of documentation. You need to select the services that are correct for you. Normally, there's someone that needs to take care of you, how you're going to get the service. So from my perspective, suddenly that was amazing because when you have a system that has no constants in it, you can create any type of onboarding process. And that's where like the light bulb, I had that aha moment. It was like, okay, this is interesting because it's complex, it's very fragmented, and you have technology that can win over most of the market.
And so you launched this how many years ago did you start it?
10 years.
10 years ago. So you guys have been going for quite some time now. Is there any sort of future services or rollouts maybe you have on the horizon you can tease out to people that are, maybe they're thinking, well, that will definitely push me over to sign up?
We're coming out with a few very interesting services. One service is that you could basically build the whole system through AI. You would explain what you have, you upload your own documents, and AI would just build the system for you through our API mechanisms. That's one. The second one is that we're coming out with a very flexible invoicing structure where you can continue to use, basically, like you said, the wheels on the car. You can use Stripe or whatnot, but now you'll have an invoicing service where you can split the invoices. You can send that out. It's like for bigger businesses normally, where there's someone else paying versus someone else that's working on it. And then we've launched also our integration tools, where we now have integrations with QuickBooks and about QuickBooks is the one everybody uses, but about 300 other ones that are going to be used. Yeah.
Well, this should be really interesting in all that you have going on there. And you've got a lot of big clients that work for you or that utilize the service and stuff. Tell us a little about the pricing. How does that work? I see different levels that people can do. And is the payment processing, I see your promotion of, or not a promotion, but it's got a byline there. Payment processing as low as 1.5%. Give us some lowdown on what that's about.
So we actually have unique technology that allows us to lower people's payment processing considerably. One of the first thing is that we offer you can process with ACH, credit cards, and also all the reward cards, and in addition to that, debit cards. Now, we have proprietary technology that we built that allows us to detect if someone is using a rewards card versus a debit card. Now, I'll explain why this is important. To process a debit card from a business perspective is much cheaper than to process a credit card or even a rewards card, right? Now, once we can, and normally you only know that after you process the card. So someone can come in, pay $1,000, and because they're using their Amex Platinum or whatnot, you're suddenly paying for that $100, $5 for processing or $6 sometimes because it's so expensive. Whereas if he uses a debit card, you'll be paying 90 cents or even 80 cents, right? So that's a huge difference. Now, multiply that by big numbers, that's a lot of money. Now, we created proprietary technology that allows us to detect the card type on the fly, like when they're actually typing in the card. Now, what that allows us to only add fees for high-cost cards. So from the business perspective, they can reach a situation where they're always paying like 1.5%, because anybody who's using an expensive card type, they're paying the difference. Now, normally what happens is they see the fee and they're like, and it tells them like, okay, you're using Amex, whatever, this is the fee. But if you use your debit card, there's no fee. And then they just take out their debit card right away because they don't want to pay the fee, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to pay fees.
Fees are bad.
And from their perspective, it's like, I don't care. It's like, I don't care if I pay with my Amex or with my debit card. It's the same for me. They pay with their debit card, and suddenly the businesses are saving like 3, 4, 5% on their overall revenue, which is huge.
Yeah. You guys should go talk to Walmart. I always go into my local Walmart, and they don't you always have to shove the card in. You can't do the wave thing, the tap. Right.
The tap.
And I'm like, what's going on with you guys? Like, you're Walmart, like you can't afford new terminals or something or whatever. And they have like a little thing that keeps you from tapping. It's like a little hook. So finally asked me, and I go, what the hell is it with you guys where I can't? Because there's been a couple times where it's my local Walmart and I'll forget my credit cards or my wallet at home, but I have my phone, so I can easily do the tap thing with the phone.
The tap is more expensive for them.
Yeah. And you know what they told me? They go, their arrangement is through Apple, and Apple charges like an arm and a leg or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we just rather it charges more for the tap. I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah, because it's considered higher risk.
Yeah.
Tap.
And is that why too? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm just sitting there just going like, you're Walmart. You can afford it. I don't know.
They want to make more money. That's fine.
Isn't it right? Is it crazy? But every other place I go into, I think that's the only store I go into that doesn't have tap. Everyone's got tap now. So it makes it really inconvenient, especially like I think I had one time where I bought a bunch of groceries and I thought my wallet on me, and I didn't. And I was like, well, I got my phone. And they're like, yeah, screw you. And I was like, what the hell? But and then for some
eventually
reason
they'll let you do the tap because they'll lose so much business from people not forgetting their wallet.
Yeah. But I mean, they told me they have some square deal with, or square deal might be the wrong word. They have some deal with Apple, and I'm just like, don't they do phones anyway? So what haven't we talked about that Regpack offers in features and benefits? Maybe I noticed you guys have something here, reporting and analytics. PayPal's reporting analytics is a nightmare. I haven't really tried.
I would say that the biggest thing that Regpack does for an organization is the automation. What we always talk about is that when an organization comes to us, we sort of like learn the process, understand what their needs are. Normally, I also like when I get on a call, sometimes I get on a call, I don't want to hear their pain points. I want to hear what their goals are. Like, where do you want to be 12 months from now, 24 months from now? Where do you want to be? What are your goals? And then we take that, and what we do is, because Regpack is a software that automates the process, we look for what we call the common case. We say, okay, what do 90% of your clients, considering that you can do like conditional logic, what do 90% of your clients do? Like, what is the process that they go through? Okay. And we find that sort of like, tree where 90% of them go through. We automate that completely. And that's where we tell the organization, okay, what we just did is we took you out of the way for 90% of your clients, maybe 95% of your clients. Now what happens is you only take care of the special cases. Someone can't come. There's a problem in the family. They want to transfer the money from one user to the other user. Stuff that you could not automate ever, because people are people, right? But suddenly an organization that was spending hundreds of admin hours just taking care of work that they shouldn't be doing, because a computer can do it. There is a common case. What happens, suddenly the organization takes all these people that used to do grunt work, and they can connect with their clients. They can connect with their students, with their campers, with their travelers, etc. And the client satisfaction just skyrockets. because you automated the common case. You took what most people go through and you just made it flow.
So do you kind of
custom?
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you kind of customize that flow then? It sounds like you guys are really customer centric and help people design what they need to do.
Actually, we are very customer centric, and the way what I'm talking about, like I said a few times, the conditional logic engine. Basically, what happens in Regpack is as people are going through the onboarding process, what happens is the conditional logic understands who they are and what they need. And as they're going through, it basically changes the process on the fly. So they're only asked the questions and presented the options that apply to them.
Oh.
So that way, think of it like, one person can come in and fill out 5 forms and another person would fill out only 3 forms. One person would be offered things that are connected to teens and sports, and another person would be offered things that are connected to art based on obviously the offering of the organization. And everything there works, everything in the software works that way to make sure that every person is going through the unique process that only they should be going through.
Huh. Well, that's definitely customer centric. Making systems that make it easy, an easy UI, make it, not a lot of hurdles that people have to go through. That can really be important because, you deal with some of this other stuff and like I say, if you got a bad UI, it drives customers away. They're like, I don't want to deal with this. I mean, I've had to deal with a few lately in the medical community. I had to get some surgery for hernia, and boy, some of the things they presented me with. You got to sign up here with a doctor, and then you got to sign up here with the hospital, and then they got all the vendors and crap, and you're just like, what's going on, man? And some of their stuff looks like it was done by like Windows Vista. Like, what is going on? I'm trusting these people with my life under anesthesia.
Yeah, totally. What we always tell the engineers that help organizations build these things, think of a mother that's like super tired, end of day, needs to register their kid to something while making dinner. Okay, it needs to be that simple where she can be thinking about her kids, about dinner while registering, and it still works.
And the kids screaming in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I was mentioning, the UIs and stuff, and some of the stuff I've seen, like some of it's like, it really looks like, I'm like, did you design this in 2015? And the UI is just awful. Like I had to call some people and be like, what's going on? That's how I got double billed too. They're just run amok. What it was is it billed me for the bill, and so I made a payment, and they had a payment thing for me for the surgeries, and so I made a payment. So then when the payment came due the next month for 2 or 3 more payments, it billed me a new whole bill for the remaining amount separately. Wow. And so I remember seeing it, I'm like, oh, that's a different amount, but it's not as much, so I guess I got to pay that too. So I paid that, and then I looked on the UI and I'm like, wait, there's 2 of them here. What's going on? I called them and they're like, yeah, it's doing that. So we'll merge it and fix it. But I'm like, you shouldn't have to merge it and fix it.
Exactly. Like think of like from the organization standpoint, they also wasted a ton of time.
Oh yeah. Because I had to get on the phone and call them as a customer and be like, what the hell? Why am I having to babysit your life? Yeah, it's crazy, man. Anything more we need to talk about? I think it's great that you guys are able to sit down and work with people, customize them. I noticed there's an open API and webhooks. Is that something customers can utilize if they have?
Normally, bigger clients use that, but we do have a large number of our clients use the API. Basically, what you're able to do with the API, it's a total open REST API where it allows you to retrieve and change information in the system. So if you need to connect it to a customizable CRM, if you need to have data transfer between units in your organization, then it is really helpful. Or if you need to create some kind of functionality that does not exist in Regpack, you have the open API and you can use that. For example, we have JCC is like a client that uses the API extensively. I just know because I talked to it about an hour ago with one of our devs. They have like sort of like Olympic games. It's like for teens. right? And they have like all kind of logic that needs to happen in the background based on background checks and the connection of where you're coming from, etc. And they use the API in order to make sure that all this logic is seamless to the client.
Wow.
Another example is we have a client where they use the API in order to transfer information into their CRM automatically, or from their CRM into Regpack. So, for example, Regpack is not a lead system for sales, so they have a sales team that uses the CRM. And once a client tells them yes, I want to go forward, they only click a button, and everything is ported over to Regpack, all the information that happened with the sale. And now when the client comes in, they don't need to fill out double information. The person that's taking care of them understands exactly what happened with this client, and there's no miscommunication, and it happens with a click of a button.
Click of a button, ease of use, friendly UI. Anything more we need to know about that we haven't talked about Regpack before we go out?
No, I think that's it.
And so I noticed people can hit a button to speak to experts. So it sounds like there's help readily available. People don't have to foam around the site. They can be like, hey, how does this work? And I love that you guys, the one thing I did with our companies is I always customize for our clients, especially our bigger one. And we try and make it easy for them to integrate with us. And it's so hard to get people to do that nowadays. It's kind of weird. People are just like, no, just fill out the form on the website and don't talk to us.
No, we talk to you. Don't worry.
It's like, we'll get back to you next week. Just send us an email, and we'll if we get back to you, that or
we get back to people. Because actually, a lot of times I like to participate myself in some of these conversations because some of these organizations are amazing. It's like organizations that are helping autistic kids, or organizations that are helping children that do not have access to technology learn how to program. So from some of the times, it's really heartwarming what these organizations are doing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And you can just make things easier because they got better things to do than mess with this stuff too. They're trying to help kids, people, and do their events and stuff. Last thing you do is you don't want to get a doctorate in how to process payments. That's your job.
It's really complicated, actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to learn the whole thing. So, give us a final pitch out for people to onboard with you. How can they reach out? How they can get to know more, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, best way to go to the website, regpack.com. There you can fill out the form. A specialist in your field will contact you. And there's a whole process that you see a proof of concept. There's an ROI call. The whole thing is made to make sure that you understand how Regpack is going to help you. In terms of seeing testimonials, clients, all that is on the website or on our LinkedIn. Our LinkedIn is actually I also suggest just writing in Google Asaf Darash Forbes. We did a lot of research around how Regpack is helping various organizations, and Forbes was kind enough to publish a lot of it. Nice. So you can do that.
The more business, the better. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Give us your .coms one last time as we go out, and we'll wrap the show.
Yeah, www.regpacks.com, LinkedIn/Regpack, LinkedIn/Asaf Darash, and Instagram, just Regpack. That's it.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a wonderful, Doc, to have you on and find out more about what's going on. And of course, if you can save money, you can create seamless process for your clients. That just makes everything better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be sure to refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives, or else, I might have to go door knocking, like the Seventh-day Adventists or Mormons or the Scientologists start sending you weird mailers and stuff that I get all the time. And, beg people to subscribe to the show. So help me out if you would, please, because 2,500 shows, 17 years. We're going to try and do 17 more and another 2,500 shows. I need to quit saying that because I kind of have cringe because I know how much work goes into that. But I love you guys. So love me back, please. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, man. I just want you to love me back. Take care. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have us out, man. Great.